What is up? We are live from Seattle making Seattle Style Chicken Teriyaki. Hi, Lena. Good to see you. Angie Fisher, Miriam, Terry, PR Banks, Steph with the towel. So many of you guys have like this classic go-to look. I know I do too. We all got it, but I love seeing you guys with all your normal stuff. Hi, Michael and Holly, Deb Hillard, Nicole Johnson. Welcome, everybody. If you guys are new here, we're so thrilled that you're hanging out with us here in the kitchen at Homemade. I'm Joel. I'm your fearless chef today. I'm also the CEO and founder of Homemade. And so if you have major shtick with us, you email me, joel@withhomemade.com. And speaking of that, if there is any technical difficulties today, because I know that happens, people have camera issues and sound issues. If that happens at all today, just make sure to DM, direct message Lindsay, who is our chef in the chat. But if you are new here, we try and make this as interactive as possible. So we have myself here to answer any questions for those who are sharing their screen where I can see your face. So if you're comfortable, share your screen, even if you're not cooking along. And then if you are not comfortable sharing your screen, but you still want to interact, we have Chef Lindsay in the chat. She is so knowledgeable, so fun, so nice. Again, any technical issues, just DM her. But if it's a bigger question about the recipe and the class itself, put it in the main chat because I think a lot of people will benefit from it. This is a really special recipe. We don't get to do these really often, which are super hyper regional recipes. And today we are making Seattle Chicken Teriyaki. This is something I grew up on. I grew up in Seattle. So ever since I was as little as possible, teriyaki, or what we call it here in the Pacific Northwest, yaki, has been on the menu. We've had it for dinner almost every week. It's like a quick thing. And what's really interesting is we were talking about, okay, if you live on the East Coast, there's pizza joints and sub shops everywhere. But if you come over here to the West Coast, here in the Pacific Northwest, we're so close to Japan that there's so many sushi joints and teriyaki joints, just as much as those sandwich spots. So it's kind of funny. East Coast close to Italy, you get all that good stuff. West Coast close to Asia, you get all that good stuff. And you kind of see the influences, right? It's like why there's so many great taco spots in LA. Well, it's pretty close to Mexico. So it's just interesting. Even America kind of feeds off its neighbors, which makes America that melting pot that we all love it so much. So is this traditional teriyaki? No. What makes it different is it's sweet, it's sticky, there's a little ginger, a hint of garlic. So it's nothing crazy, but there is a proper method to making Seattle-style chicken teriyaki, and honestly, to me, it tastes like home. So really excited to share this one with you guys today. We wouldn't even start this dish. We wouldn't even think about starting this dish without the right type of chicken, and we only cook with one type of chicken here at Homemade. So if you're new, remember the name. I'm gonna just make sure everyone can see this here. So this is called Ranger Free Range Chicken. Now the bummer is it's only here in the Pacific Northwest. So if you live in Washington or Oregon, rock on. Like us, we use this. It's incredible. If you don't, get to know this brand Ranger, because there's a lot of brands in your hometowns that mirror it, right? They're free range. They're locally grown, Northwest grown. There's no antibiotics. So as long as you can find the same attributes where you are, you can experience a lot of the same things. So we'll talk about Ranger, but let's get cooking. Thumbs up, everyone. Anyone here from Seattle? Knows this teriyaki? Raise your hand or throw it in the chat. Yeah, Midori? Okay, cool. I love it. Awesome. Cool. So I got some Seattleites on the phone. So here we go. First things first, you gotta have some good sushi rice. Short grain rice totally works. And one of the things when I talk to home cooks, I know this is really crazy, and if you relate, you relate, but people are really intimidated to cook rice. Sometimes it comes out too mushy, sometimes it comes out too dry. So I wanted to show you a way to cook rice that honestly, it has never failed me, and it's really easy. Now we rinsed our rice until it kind of ran dry, meaning we put it in a little strainer, we rinsed it real quick. It takes 30 seconds. And what happens is you start seeing the water go from really cloudy to clear. And I just grabbed a mug, and I just grabbed some rice like this, and literally just a pan, and I'm pouring that puppy in. Super simple. Then I'm gonna grab 2 mugs full of just normal tap water. So ratio being 2 to 1, 2 parts water, 1 part rice. I'm using a mug because I want you guys to see it doesn't have to be perfect. If you're off by a tablespoon, it's gonna be okay. There's even ways to kind of save it, but this is kind of my go-to method. Oop, let me fix this guy, this fell out. Sid, it's short. It's a short tail over here today. All right, beautiful. So, what I got next, I should probably turn off the water. All right, so what I got next is I'm just gonna turn this on high heat. So again, I got 1 mug of rice, short grain rice, 2 mugs of water, high heat. I might throw a little pinch of salt in there. That's it. All right, we'll revisit that once it comes to a boil. I know it's crazy. Anyone not intimidated by cooking rice here? Raise your hand. I was for a long time, and I'm a chef. I'm not kidding. You're like, is it gonna turn out? You never know, and then you open that lid and it's like, oh my gosh, it worked. So we'll let that kind of come to a boil. I'm on high heat. What I want to do next is one of the classic sides that you see in chicken style teriyaki. Now, typically you'll see like a coleslaw. It's like iceberg lettuce, shredded carrots. But what you're starting to see more now is mac salad. Anyone familiar with mac salad can tell me what mac salad is? Everyone knows it's a macaroni salad, but where does it come from? Who can give me a little background on it? Raise your hand or throw it in the chat. Lindsay, what do we got? Oh, good question. So one of the questions is, why don't you cover the rice and bring it to the boil faster? You can, but by covering the rice, you actually increase the temperature, which can make it a little bit mushy. So you don't want to really, it's not about getting there fast. You kind of want to ease it into the heat. Great question. What else we got? I'm going to move all this over so everyone can see. Yes, Lindsay.
Another question is this how you would cook various types of rice, like basmati, whole grain, etc.?
Yes, so the question is, even if this is not short grain rice, if you were using basmati or jasmine or something like that, could you do the same exact technique? And the answer is yes. And you might want to tweak to your liking. Some people like it a little bit wetter, some people like it a little drier, so you can give it just a little bit more, a little bit less water, but for the most part, that 2 to 1 ratio, it works every time. Cool. I'm moving everything over here so you guys can see. Let's just make sure. You can see that, but not that. That's okay. We'll get that in there. Okay, everyone's answered my question about mac salad, and they said Hawaii, and that's totally true. Think about where we are in Seattle. Hawaii is only a 6-hour flight away. You can be jealous if you want. I love going to Hawaii, but they have these little gas stations with poke, rice, just like we're making today, maybe chicken katsu, and then they make mac salad. And mac salad makes so much sense for Hawaii because it's so easily to find ingredients. But also they travel and store really well, and when you're on an island, that's key. So we've cooked up about a pound of macaroni, and what we're going to do now is add a little bit of apple cider vinegar, about a tablespoon. So everyone can do that with me. I'm just going to mix that through. That just loosens the noodles so they don't stick together, but it also kind of gives them a little pucker, a little pop of acid. It's a nice tip. I wouldn't do this with, like, if you're making spaghetti, but for this mac salad or even like a potato salad, it's a really genius way to kind of go about it. And then I've got 4 veg. You can literally get rid of one of these, use 3. Don't feel like you need all 4, but I do love all 4 for the contrast. So we've got carrot, green onion, celery, and a little bit of sweet Maui onion. So I'm going to start with the onion itself. And I'm just going to cut this thing up nice and small. So I'm going to take the bottom off, the top off, cut this puppy in half, and just start going to town. So I'm going to mince this. We talked really briefly about Ranger chicken and why we choose it. Everyone hears the word free range. And it is totally a kind of like a, I don't know, like a almost like a salesy term now. But not a lot of brands live up to it. Free range means the chicken needs tons of outdoor space to be able to roam and do what chickens do. eat bugs, poop, do all the things that chicken needs to do, not be in a cage its whole life. And when you find something like Ranger Chicken who really owns up to that, you're finding someone who raises chickens the way that nature intended. This is the right way that a chicken should be raised, and that's what you're looking for. When you hear the word free range, it literally means they have access to the outdoors and can do what chickens can do, which means it will taste the way a chicken should taste. All right, so I'm just dicing up this onion. I got a little bit of scrap on the end. That's all good. And what I'm going to do now is just add that onion in. Nothing cray. Don't feel like it needs to be perfectly small diced onions. Just, a little mince on there is all you need. That looks great. And then, you can see our water is boiling super, I call this the hot tub bubbles, super vigorously. So that's a really good sign. At this point, my heat is all the way on 10. So now I'm going to slap on the lid, and I'm going to take it all the way down to 1. So I went from 10 to 1. Crazy, right? And we're going to give this about 10, maybe 12 minutes, but it's just going to slowly steam in there. So lid on from 10 to 1, and you will have perfect rice every time. You're going to see this live, so if I'm lying, you'll know. All right, so next up, we're going to grate some veg. I've got just a grater here. Got a good old carrot. It's going to add some color, a little bit of sweetness. I like that we're grating. When you go to these teriyaki joints, this is what they do. They grate the lettuce, they grate all the vegetables, and they're just crisp. They really kind of counterbalance the sweet or even the spicy sauce. And that's what it's all about. I'm going to take 2 celeries, do the same thing. Yep, I'm grating celery, people. Whether you've seen it or not, see all those little bits here? That's the stringy bit of the celery you don't even want. So it just goes after that sweet middle. It's a good tip. 2 celeries. Yeah, see? All that's the stuff that gets caught in your teeth. Really bad for date nights. Really bad. And then, lift this puppy up. We've got beautiful, crisp, almost like a slaw. A little carrot and celery. And then last vegetable is a little scallion, and I'm just going to chop this up nice and small. So I have 2 scallions here, actually 3, but totally up to you if you want to add this. I think it adds just a little bit of savoriness. It's kind of all the sweet that's going on in this mac salad. So yeah, teriyaki for us in the Pacific Northwest, after a t-ball game, this is where you go. Graduation with your buddies, this is where you go. It's a Tuesday night and everyone's got homework, so let's pick up some yaki. That's where you go. So if you're from Seattle, you know this. It's cheap. It's like $9-10 for a big plate of food. You always have leftovers. So to make it from scratch is really fun. All right. So at this point, all my vegetables are in the pasta. I also added that little bit of apple cider vinegar, and we are going to make a dressing. Now, this is a classic teriyaki side dressing. You can, of course, take out the pasta, just do vegetables. But we've got kind of the mac salad because of the Hawaiian influence. So 3 ingredients for this dressing. All right, couldn't be any simpler. We've got about a 1/4 cup of milk, straight up milk. Yes, you can use plant-based milk as long as it's not sweetened. 1 cup of mayonnaise. Ho! You're probably like, whoa, that's a lot of mayo. But that's what's classic. It's cooling. It sticks to the pasta. And again, that's that influence of Hawaii. Mayo traveled so well. It's shelf stable, so it's a great thing to have. And then a couple of tablespoons, I know this is weird, of brown sugar. So we're going to add the brown sugar into the mayo. And then I whisk that through. Crazy, I know. But don't knock it until you try it. And then you can kind of just drizzle your milk to the consistency you want. I always leave a little bit off, just in case you need to thin it out later. But you want it to be rather thick. Add a little bit more. Keep about a tablespoon to the side. And I'm just literally just whisking this. And this is a great, even if you're not making this teriyaki dish, what a great little dressing to have in your back pocket. I know you're probably thinking, man, that's a lot of mayo, but just like the chicken, use really high quality mayo. All right, a little salt and pep. Whisk that through. And then on we go. And it's not gloopy, it's not gloppy the way that you would think maybe mayonnaise-based sauces would be. But by the way, mayonnaise-based sauce would be like ranch, Parmesan peppercorn. So don't knock it if you love those beautiful salad dressings. But I'm literally just tossing the vegetable, tossing all that dressing, and you want to give this a really good toss. I know this is new for people. This is what regional cooking's all about. It's like, wow. Did you just pour a cup of mayo into macaroni? Yes, we did. And it's absolutely glorious. How we doing? Any questions in the chat I need to address, or any questions at home? Bring it.
What do you consider high quality mayo?
What do I consider high quality mayo? Great question. So any organic mayo is really, to me, high quality. There's a couple of brands. I'll name them. Sir Kensington's. We love Sir Kensington's here. Duke's is really good. It's more of a southern brand, but they do a really good job. Hellman's Organic, nothing wrong with it. Great. But me personally, Sir Kensington's. Don't tell the rest. That's my fave. All right, this looks great. Let me show you guys what's going on here. Whoops. Boom. Put that in the fridge. Let that rest for a couple hours if you can. If not, you can dive in. But the longer you let that sit, obviously the longer the mayo, all that beautiful sugar, everything will kind of soak in. It is a delicious salad. It's simple. You can call it lowbrow, but come on. We don't always have to make highbrow foods. Sometimes lowbrow is the best brow. So I love it. I love mac salad for so many reasons. Any questions on that mac salad? I'm going to clean up a little bit. It's not the cleanest dish in the world, but I love it. And if you think about it, like mac salad is so traditional on poke. You get like that beautiful little hint of rice. You have mac salad, and then you've got poke. You've got your raw fish. And so it makes sense that it could kind of go on a Seattle plate, which is really similar. All right, next up, we are going to make the sauce. Sauce is pretty important when it comes to chicken teriyaki. It's kind of everything. It's the glaze, it's the glue, it's the seasoning. So we're going to talk about what makes this sauce different. There is some major technique to this sauce, and it's a very traditional kind of Asian sauce in that way. If you want it less sweet, totally cool. You can make it less sweet. But I love this sauce, not just glazed on the chicken, but drizzled raw over the chicken, over the rice, over everything. It's just such a nice condiment. So, what we're going to start by doing, I'm going to switch these guys out so you guys can see what's going on over here. All right. I'm going to start by getting a pan. Oop, I think I need a different pan. Let me get a different pan here. But I'm going to use a flat bottom pan, so a big skillet, which has tons of space. The recipe calls for you to use a saucepan, but we're going to reduce this. So by using a big pan like this, it's going to reduce a lot faster, a lot more surface area. So I got a big non-stick pan on a medium-high heat. Everyone with me so far? Pretty easy? All right. Next up, 5 ingredients. Soy sauce, rice wine vinegar, unsweetened. When you go to the grocery store and you buy rice wine vinegar, it comes in a very similar bottle to what looks like what's called sushi seasoning. And that has sugar and a bunch of other stuff in it. So just rice wine vinegar. Brown sugar, it's back. About a teaspoon, even like a tablespoon or so of cornstarch. And then what really makes this teriyaki glaze different in Seattle is the addition of ginger and garlic. And we don't go light. We go big. I've got 3 cloves of garlic and a knob of ginger the size of my thumb. and that's going to add some heat. I say it all the time. When you cook ginger and garlic, it adds sweetness. When you eat it raw, it adds heat. So we're going to kind of find a middle ground with that. Make sense? Everyone with me? Thumbs up. Let me see some thumbs. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Kayla. Awesome. We have been getting some questions. What is my favorite teriyaki joint in Seattle? Get a pen and paper, people. Get a pen and paper. Write them down. First and foremost, Madison Park Teriyaki Bowl. Teriyaki Bowl. That's where I grew up going. Really old school. Great. East Side Toshi's. That's one of the first teriyaki joints I've never heard of. Really beautiful chicken, fluffy rice. They do a great job. And finally, in West Seattle, which is where I live, I like Grillbird. They're new style, but really good job. They do a great job. All right, so the pan is now screaming hot. I want to make sure you guys have a good view here. And I'm going to add about 1.5 cups of soy sauce. You see it's already starting to kind of bubble and be agitated, which is good. 1/2 cup of rice wine vin. 1/4 cup of brown sugar. It should be syrupy. It should be thick. That's what this is all about. And then I'm going to take this garlic, and this is a little bit against the recipe, but I like this style. And I just smash it up. We're not necessarily going to eat it, but it's going to flavor it. So leave the paper on. Give it a smash. And then ginger, same thing. Leave everything on. Just give it a smash. So all I did was smash everything. It's pretty simple. The paper and the skin have so much nutrients and flavor. You just don't want to lose that. And all we're doing is really just infusing this. So it's really simple. All right, we're just going to mix that through and let that really, really cook down for about 5 minutes or so. If you were using a saucepan, it would take like 10, 15 minutes. Now, if you want to make this spicy, add some chili flakes. Oh, that vinegar's hitting me. Add some sriracha. Totally up to you. And then the last little trick here is called a slurry. Who can tell me what a slurry is? I know we've got a lot of home cooks here. Who can tell me what a slurry is? It's one of the first things you learn at cooking school. What's a slurry? Throw it in the chat. What do we got, Linz? Oh, Michael, bring it, buddy.
Well, basically, it's a thickener, and what in this case you're probably using is like cornstarch and water. And a couple of things to remember is make sure you mix it up, otherwise you get lumps, and that the cornstarch does not start to thicken until it comes to a boil.
Air high five, my man. Great job. David, did you have something to add? David Morgan, good to see you, my man. You were going to say the same thing, huh?
I was asking a question about, did you say 1.5 cups of soy sauce?
Yeah.
Okay. And then how much vinegar did you say again? I'm sorry.
I have to look at the recipe. That one, I think, we'll pull it up. Hold on. 1/2 cup.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. So that's reducing down. And for this slurry, I grab literally like a tablespoon of cornstarch. You can use arrowroot. And if you ever have a soup or a sauce or a gravy, and it's just not thickening up, it's not where you want it, this is what you do. So I take my cornstarch, I add a little bit of this sauce into it. And like Michael said, if I just added the cornstarch in, it could get really, really lumpy. So in a separate bowl, I'm going to kind of whisk it to get rid of those lumps. Really whisk it up. Take your time here. Beautiful. And then back in. And that will thicken up your sauce to the texture that we love. Now, I wouldn't use that all the time. Sometimes it becomes a little gelatinous and too thick. But if you have, like, if you're in a little bit of a pinch, grab a little bit of that cornstarch and make that slurry. All right, it's been about 10, 15 minutes or so on the rice. So I want to make sure that we can check it together and see where we're at. So I'm just going to lift this up. And I even switched burners. That's how you really know it's good. So there's still a little bit of liquid. So it probably needs about another 2 minutes, but the most part is it's very fluffy. So I'm going to give it about another minute or two. But this, like I said, perfect rice every time. Not overcooked, not undercooked. So lid back on. And that's what I'm saying. Rice doesn't have to be as exact as you think it does, right? If you see it being a little bit too soft, put it back on the heat for about another minute or two so it dries up. If it's a little bit too dry, you can always add a little bit more liquid in. But with that ratio, it kind of hits the spot every time. This looks so good. I want you guys to be able to see this. So the sauce has had about 5 minutes, and you can see how thick and viscous it's getting. You can take a spoon, dip it in, and it coats the spoon. That's called nappe. Really beautiful. This is exactly where I want it. So what I'm going to do is grab 2 bowls, all right, and a strainer, because I don't want any of that garlic or ginger in there. And I'm just going to keep 1 for my little condiment and 2 to glaze our chicken. And since our chicken will be raw, that's why I want to keep it separate. Looks great. All right. Killer. So 2 right there. The one with my brush will be my raw. The one without the brush is going to the side. That's going to be my condiment. I'll give it a quick taste. It should be syrupy. It should be sweet, but very salty. Yeah. That's home. That's home to me. Any questions on that soy sauce? On that teriyaki sauce? This is not where you want to go buy the teriyaki marinade or the sauces that's already made. Those are loaded with ingredients you can't even pronounce, just to keep it shelf stable, to try and keep it fresh. That took me less than 5 minutes. It's so worth it to make your own teriyaki sauce. Simple as that. And this will stay good in your fridge for up to 6 months. So you can use it again and again. Cool. Well, we're going to grab our Ranger chicken. One of the first things you notice when you're using really good, high-quality chicken like Ranger is the color of the chicken itself. It's got almost like a pink hue to it. And today, we're using boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which is really traditional in Seattle Style Chicken Teriyaki. Now, there's no salt, no pepper that needs to be put on this because we're going to literally glaze this in our soy sauce. So what I like to do is take these thighs, and my heat is off right now. I'm just putting them back into the pan that I reduced the teriyaki in. And you can do this on a grill pan as well. The only problem is you can't reduce your sauce in it. So if you have a grill pan, just turn it on and we'll glaze as we go. But if you did it in one pan like this, you save yourself the cleanup. So I think that is plenty. Love it. And I want to call out that when you see something that says non-GMO, right, and that's their feed, it's verified, it means that they're not eating anything unnatural, nothing genetically modified. So the chickens are eating what they should eat, a natural diet, vegetarian diet, really, really good. So what I'm going to do now is turn up the heat to about an 8 out of 10. 8 out of 10. And what's going to end up happening is the juices from our Ranger chicken is going to start to kind of loosen the sauce. And the sauce is going to start clinging to the outside of the chicken. Now, this is a new way to cook chicken that I've ever taught here at Homemade. Typically, when you're grilling or trying to char something, you don't touch it very often. But today, we want to keep flipping this because the more you flip, the more crust and char you get on the outside of that chicken, which makes it really good. Yes?
Kathy wants to know, how do you know when it is reduced enough?
Oh, yeah. Kathy wants to know, how do you know when the sauce has reduced enough? Kathy, just that spoon trick. So grab a spoon, dip it in your sauce, and if it coats the spoon, it almost looks like cough medicine. If it coats the spoon, your money. You're good to go. Awesome. All right, these are already starting to smell ridiculous. So it's been about a minute. I'm going to flip them. No char yet, but you can see the sauce is clinging. And you almost want to use the chicken to clean up your pan. And every single time you flip this chicken, all that brown sugar, all that soy sauce, all that garlic and ginger essence is going to kind of almost sear and caramelize, and you're creating a layer of bark. That really is what we're looking for with the Seattle Style Chicken Teriyaki. It needs to be almost burnt on the outside. Really, really sticky and dark and caramelized. That's so important. All right, let's check our rice. It's been about another couple minutes. Yeah, it's perfect. This is what I'm talking about. Oh, I want to make sure you guys can see. Beautiful. Make sure I can fluff it for you guys. I like to let this sit for 10 minutes to really absorb everything. Perfectly fluffy rice. Works every time. I don't know why, it just does. Grab a towel. This is a great trick. You can take a towel, put it over the rice, put your lid back over the towel. And this makes sure that no air gets in there and your rice stays super fluffy and warm. My Indian friend Sham taught me this trick, and it's a really good one. It's what his mom does. So I'm just going to put this off to the side, no heat, and it's about another minute. Great time to check my chicken. Give it another flip. My temperature on my chicken is an 8 out of 10. And one mistake I made was when I was making the soy sauce, I apologize. I said 1.5 cups, but it's 3/4 of a cup of soy sauce. 3/4 of a cup. All right, Lindsay told everyone that. Good. So you'll start to see here caramelization happening. That dark, crispy bit. We're getting there. Linz, you had a question. Woo! Yeah, if you're using salmon instead of chicken, I want you to take the skin off the salmon. It makes it really difficult to do this technique. So skin off. You can always roast that skin and get it really crispy and crumble it over the top, but that's another day. But I would use the salmon and do the exact same technique. Now, the chicken's going to take about 10 minutes. Salmon's going to take about 6 minutes. But same technique. Turn it every once in a while in the marinade. And what we're going to start doing with our Ranger chicken is we're going to start painting this. Because you can see a lot of the marinade is starting to kind of dry up. So we're going to start paint every single time we flip. We're going to paint the other side. You can do this on the grill. You can do this in a pan like I'm doing. The key to making it really Seattle style is that char, that caramelization. You just flip it. You can see it happening there. Oh, yeah. It's happening soon, guys. It's happening. The flip method is a really good one. So I'm on an 8 out of 10. I have not changed that. Now, I know a lot of people are cooking along. A lot of people are watching along, which is totally cool, too. Regardless, if you guys would be so kind, we absolutely love working with Ranger Chicken, and we want to share the love with them, with their fans, show what's possible to be made with chicken, so especially Ranger. So if you could go on social media, if you are making this, and tag them at Draper Valley Farms. That's the big farm that owns Ranger Chicken. Draper Valley Farms. Tag them, again, at Draper Valley Farms. They will share the love. They love being tagged on social media. We love sharing that. And again, we're just such big fans of them. We want to spread the word. All right, it's been about another minute. I'm flipping again. It's kind of a fun way to cook chicken. You know, usually I'm like, hands off. Not now. This is where you want to be hands-on. You kind of want to be with it, feeling it. Otherwise, you turn your back and this burns really quickly. Really quickly. All right. Now, I'm going to bust out an ingredient that we did not put in the recipe, but if you can find in your local grocery store, which I believe you could, it really makes a difference on the authenticity of this Seattle chicken teriyaki. So this is called furikake. Can anyone tell me what I know you're probably like, no. But what is furikake? Put it in the chat, raise your hand. Furikake. I'll leave it right there, so if you can take any guesses just by looking at it. And I'm going to keep flipping this chicken. Any guesses, Linz, in the chat? What is it? Yes. Yes. So it is a seaweed and sesame condiment. They take crumbled, dried, seasoned seaweed, and they crumble that with toasted sesame seeds. This is magic. No one talks about it. You won't see it in magazine articles. You just don't hear about furikake. This over eggs. This over your salad. This over a piece of fish. So beautiful. So good. I just want to show you guys like a little close-up. Furikake. Beautiful green color mixed with those toasted sesame seeds. And this is going to go over our rice. This is very traditional. They have it on the side next to some sriracha or some hot sauce at the teriyaki joints. And all the locals, they know. This is the bomb. It's so good. All right. A little more glazing. And again, this is my glaze that I'm saving for the raw chicken. I have another little bit I'm going to use to kind of pour over the actual meal itself. But because this is the raw chicken, we're just kind of taking mindfulness there. And what's happening is the glaze is almost steaming the chicken as it's searing it. It's such a good way to cook chicken. And you can see around it, it's just starting to get really sticky and caramelized and brown. Oh. And again, you want to hug the line between burnt and glazed. Hug that line. Goes close to burnt, like there, we're getting there. Oh, we're getting there. Yes, there too. Hug that line of burnt and glazed. Oh, looks so good. How we doing? Any questions before I start thinking about plating this up? Yeah, go for it. All right, Sherry and then PR, bring it.
Hey, I have a quick question.
Hey.
Since it's National Fried Chicken Day, can you like somehow put the chicken fried and kind of combine the 2 days together?
Here's what I'll tell you. Make chicken katsu. So it's like a shallow fried chicken with panko instead of all the breading, and then drizzle the sauce over the top, and I'll give it to you.
All right, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Sherry.
Have a great day.
You too. Hey, PR with your cool glasses. What's up, buddy? Oh, PR, you there? I think you're just on chat. Or you're on mute. I'm sorry. There you go.
Oh, okay. My question is, I asked it in the chat, but my sauce turned out very salty. How can I undo that or reverse it?
Did you add any? You didn't add any salt to it.
Oh, no.
Really?
And somebody said it's your soy sauce, and I used honey instead of
Brown sugar.
brown sugar because it said that in the recipe.
Yeah, it's meant to be salty. That's why we're not adding any more salt to this.
Oh, okay.
But if it's too salty, couple things. One, you can absolutely tone it down with a little bit more vinegar. So just add a couple more splashes of that. And you can add a little bit more of the sweetness, the honey or brown sugar. You're using honey, right, PR?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So just go with another tablespoon of honey. That will mellow out the salt.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Totally get it. I totally get it. Yeah. All right, guys. We are getting close to the end here, and I just keep flipping this gorgeous Ranger chicken. You cannot use bad chicken for this. If you like, when I mean bad chicken, conventional chicken. It cannot. No matter how much sauce you have, it will not taste the same as having a really gorgeously, thoughtfully raised chicken like Ranger. Oh, these look great. All right, I want you guys to see a little view here. Look at these. I promised you, as close to burnt as you can. Find those hot spots and ride them home. Woo! Those look killer! I love it. I love this on the outdoor grill. It gets so charred and caramelized, but I also love it indoor like what we're doing right now. It just kind of depends on the season, depends on the mood. These look killer. I'm going to turn off the heat. That is glazed. That is charred. That is not burnt. I know it looks close to burnt. It is not. It is beautifully caramelized. So, how do you traditionally plate this? How do you serve Seattle Style Chicken Teriyaki? Couple of things. Nice flat plate, no bowl. So nice flat plate. Ice cream scooper, which Lindsay likes to remind me this is not an ice cream scooper. This is a cookie dough scooper. Is that right? Cookie dough scooper? Cookie dough scoop, excuse me. An ice cream scoop would be this. Okay, let's get technical here. Ice cream scoop, cookie dough scooper. So I guess grab a cookie dough scooper, not an ice cream scoop. And that's just traditional what we're doing here. But we start with a little bit of this mac salad. So I just grab a nice spoonful of this, kind of pack that in. And I want a lot of that. Really pack it in, turn it over. You have a nice pile of your mac salad. And then rice. It's all about that beautifully steamed short grain rice. We do 2 scoops of this. So 1. And again, really packed in there. 2. This is Seattle style, guys. This is it. We put a little bit of that furikake over the rice. I know, it's crazy. It's so fun, though. All right. You know what's going here, the main event. So what I do at this point is I grab a couple of these chickens. Beautiful, caramelized, sticky, almost smoky Ranger chicken. I want you guys to kind of see a side view of this. Lindsay is saying yum. Yeah, this is drool-worthy stuff. And yeah, I mean, salmon would be great, but when you have something like Ranger chicken nearby, I don't know. It doesn't really get better to me. I'm a chicken guy. All right, and then I grab my knife, and very traditionally, we cut up little slices like this. And oh my gosh, that is blazing hot. Yes. Yeah. Great question. JJ wants to know, is furikake salty? And I would say, yeah, there's a little, because the seaweed is a little bit seasoned, so it has a little salt to it. It can be a little salty, and it has kind of an oceany vibe because of the seaweed, but it's not overly powering. It's not like a salt bomb or anything like that. All right, so chicken on. Oh, I think my fellow Seattleites would be very proud, especially because we're using Northwest grown chicken with our Ranger chicken. So we went full Pacific Northwest here. But this, to me, kind of says it all. I'm going to do a little top down so you guys can see here. Beautiful, beautiful char on that chicken. Oh, I'm going to just wipe the side of the plate here. Still a chef, guys. Still a chef. All right, and then I grab a little bit of this soy. Gorgeous teriyaki marinade. I just drizzle that. You can go a little bit over the rice if you want. I just kind of keep that nearby. I feel like I need another scoop of mac salad. I'm not happy with the amount of mac salad on this plate. A little bit more. All right, there we go. I mean, down and dirty. Nothing fancy about it. Sticky, delicious, a hug for your tummy, and a total trip here to the Pacific Northwest and what we call just casual eating. This is our local basic spot, but it is so much more than basic. Look at this. The chicken is, again, just hugging that line between burnt and caramelized, the creamy, almost cold mac salad, and then that fluffy furikake rice. And again, you could just do plain rice. You don't need the furikake, but it really does make a difference in my book. So let's dive in, shall we? And of course, chopsticks is the way to go. Oh, this looks so good. All right. So I grab a little bit of chicken, and I'm looking for the most caramelized piece. Yes, a little bit of rice. Yes, Linz. Kathy wants to know what brand of soy sauce, and I'm using. We're using Kikkoman, traditional everyday soy sauce. Kikkoman. Guys, I'm going to eat this whole plate. It makes me think of so many good times, so many fast times where you just need some food. But to make it homemade is so special. It adds so many layers. And again, you taste the quality in what you're making, right? We use nice mayonnaise. We use really good ingredients, including, and most importantly, that Ranger chicken. This just it tastes right, but it tastes a little elevated. So good. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. A little sour from that rice wine vinegar. It just pops in your mouth, and everything balances itself. The rice is perfectly cooked. That method never steers me wrong. What else? As I just continue to eat. Nothing? That's it, Linz? Is there any more questions? Well, Lindsay said everyone just keeps saying how good it looks. It tastes way better than it looks. All right, David, go for it, buddy.
So I'm using chicken breast halves, and I was wondering how long would you cook those?
Yeah, so the chicken thighs took about 10 minutes. Chicken breast halves are even a little thinner. I'd give them about 8 minutes top, so 4 minutes per side.
Okay.
Yeah, and just keep flipping them, David.
Okay.
You guys,
Thank you.
thank you so much. I want to just a huge another call out. I know I've been calling them out all day, but Ranger Chicken, we cannot love you enough. You're our Pacific Northwest neighbor. It's why we love you. It's why we can make things like Seattle Style Teriyaki with you and show it to the world. Thank you so much. Check them out at rangerchicken.com. Sign up for their newsletter, and you can also pick them up at Safeway. If you live here in Oregon or Washington, go to your local Safeway and support Ranger Chicken. Thank you, everybody. We will catch you tomorrow. We'll be back in the kitchen. Take care.